It is another episode of the About Mansfield Economic Spotlight. I'm Steve Casillo, and what do we do here? We feature people. From CEOs to general managers to family-owned businesses, even companies of one whose businesses have an economic impact on the city of Mansfield. We want to thank the Mansfield Economic Development Corporation for sponsoring this segment and sponsoring all of our segments. All of these segments nicely wrapped up into a 10-minute nugget of information. And with us in the studio today to talk about his 10-minute nugget of information. This is Paul Duncan right over here to my left, your right. Paul is the owner of Trinity Roofing and Construction. He's also going to tell us about a new project that has just formed. First of all, Paul, welcome to the Economic Spotlight.
Thank you, Steve. It's nice to be in the Cellmark Studios.
It is the Cellmark Studios. Hey, I want to go back before we get into Trinity Roofing and Construction. I want to find out a little bit about Paul Duncan. And so let's go all the way back to your days in college. When you were in college, did you ever think that you would be owning a roofing company?
Oh, absolutely not.
And so what were you doing in college? First of all, where'd you go to college? And then what were your plans when you were a senior in college of what do you want to be when you grow up in life?
So I have 4 years of college, but I didn't go to a university. I went to 2 different junior colleges.
I did too.
Is that right?
Yes.
So I went to the great McLennan Community College in Waco, Texas.
Yeah.
All right. And then after that, I went to the also great Texas State Technical College. Mm-hmm. And when I was at MCC, my grandparents were deaf. And so I got a degree in interpreter training for the deaf.
Oh, wow.
And so I was an interpreter. As a matter of fact, that is what took me to Texas State Technical College, because I was an interpreter for deaf students at TSTC. And so in doing that, I saw an opportunity because, unfortunately, we would get laid off every summer. And so during that time, I started taking some classes because I had some interest. And so ended up with a degree in occupational safety and health with hazardous materials management option. And so ended up and that's actually what brought us up to the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
And the question then is, how did you take that degree and form a roofing company?
I didn't.
You didn't?
No, I didn't actually. I was the safety director for a company in Grand Prairie, and then I was actually a corporate safety director for another company in Dallas. And then that led to me being a mortgage loan officer somehow, some way. And at that point, that was in 2008, and mortgages were crashing.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, so that was a bad thing. So I had a friend of mine who said, hey, I know, you like dealing with people, so why don't you come over here and help us with roofs? And so I did, and it exploded.
Yeah.
It was a dream come true. So literally had no clue in college what about doing a roof. I was not at all focused on that.
When it comes to roofing, of course, your Super Bowl is when a hailstorm comes through.
Yes, it is.
But the problem is getting the word out. You are a Mansfield-based business. You are also a family-owned business.
Correct.
You live in Mansfield.
I do.
You told me that your kids actually went through all the way from kindergarten.
Absolutely. My daughters, I have 2 daughters, and they both started school in kindergarten at Glen Harmon. That's it. Okay. I forgot. It left me.
In MISD school.
Yes. And they started at Glen Harmon, and one of them ended up graduating from Timberview, and the other one graduated from Summit because they were redistricting so often. So yeah, they went to, I think they went the first 2 schools together, and then they split.
Okay. Then, all right. So the Super Bowl, the hailstorms, I think you had mentioned, by the way, Paul is also an advertiser here on the About Mansfield podcast. When your first commercial ran probably a couple of years ago, you talked about the amount of roofers that are in the DFW area, but then also when a hailstorm blows through. Touch on
So there are roughly about 7,500 roofers in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. I mean, if you look at all the different roofing companies out there, it's funny how they're coming up with names that you're like, why is that a name for a roofing company? It's because they've all been taken. And so there's like 7,500 roofers in the Metroplex. But when we get a hailstorm, it explodes. They're literally, like in my commercial, I have literally seen roofers from Montana here with Montana plates that say Roofing God. It's insane.
Roofing God?
Yes. Yes. Huge truck that said Roofing God on it, had Montana plates.
I'm going to see if that domain name is available.
Yeah.
Roofinggod.com. And so I would think that one of the ways of telling that it's a local company would be by their phone number, their area code.
Well, that's a big thing. So with the invent of what is the phone, voice over IP or whatever, that you can get phone numbers. So you can get all sorts of phone numbers that make it look local. And that's a thing that they do. So, the Montana, he had an out-of-state phone number, if you could tell.
Yeah.
But anymore, they're getting much more sophisticated, and so they're trying to get all of these phone numbers that are online numbers to make it look local.
How can a customer vet the roofing company then to determine that they are local?
Well, that's a really good question.
That's why I'm the host.
Yeah, one of the things that they can do is there are lots of local associations.
Yeah.
The North Texas Roofing Contractor Association, which I was also on the board at one time, that is a really great place to go, all right? Because they do a lot of education, and they do a thing called Know Who's on Your Roof.
Oh, okay.
All right, and it gives you 15 points to determine if they are, local. And so that's a really good way to go about it. And then RCAT is a Roofing Contractor Association of Texas, whom, because there is no regulation in the state of Texas to be licensed as a contractor, then RCAT actually does their own license. And it literally is one booger of a test.
Wow.
4-hour test. I took it. So we are licensed through RCAT, and we're hoping someday they will have licensing in the state of Texas, and we'll be a part of that.
So do your homework. Do your homework. When looking for a roofing company, number one, buy local, because
Yes.
And do your homework. Hey, we only have a couple of minutes left, but I do want to get into your new project. And so what better way to combine roofing with solar panels?
Yes, we are so excited about solar. I was my first customer.
Yeah.
Because I had to make sure that it was exactly what I was telling people it was, and it is. And my electric bill is $50.
Solar works.
And that's the thing. You know what? Solar is not on trial here. All right. Now, the people that install solars, they're on trial because there has been a lot of bad players in the market. There have been people that have been taken advantage of. They're being way overpriced. It's horrible is what it is.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, we felt like it was a lot like roofing, because roofing, there's a lot of people in and out. They come in business, they get in business, they go out of business. And so I wanted to be a stabilizing factor in this area, because we've been here since 2011. People know who we are.
Sure.
And we're going to stand behind everything that we do. So it's only fitting that I would get into solar, because guess what? We know how to put a solar panel on a roof where it won't leak.
What are some of the benefits of hiring a roofing company that also does solar?
Well, the best thing is because when you have to replace your roof, you don't have to go looking for the people that put the solar on and hope they're still in business, so you can have somebody take it off. And then, like if you do have a hailstorm, then you got to remove those solar panels, you've got to replace the roof, and then put the solar panels back on. So it can be a very seamless, easy process.
The new arm of Trinity Roofing and Construction, Trinity Solar
Services.
Trinity Solar Services. See, I almost said solutions too. Trinity Roofing and Construction, and with their new service, Trinity Solar Services. Both of those are .coms.
Yes.
And Trinity Roofing Construction.com, Trinity Solar Services.com.
Perfect.
In the couple of seconds we have left, anything you want to add that...
Well, we are a family-owned business, and really what we want to do is we want to be your go-to for all of those different things. We want to be the people that you can trust, that you know you're going to be taken care of, and we're going to stand behind everything we do.
Paul Duncan, Trinity Roofing Construction, Trinity Solar Services, thank you for being an economic impact on the city of Mansfield.
My pleasure, Steve.
Appreciate you being on the Economic Spotlight.